Well, good morning to you. It's a little bit earlier than usual because this morning Kathy and I are expecting the arrival of the Little Port Life magazine that we produce between us, voluntarily of course. But if you have years of experience in publishing and printing, why not put it to good use for the community in which we live? So here I am speaking with you a little bit earlier than usual, in my time, that is, and of course whenever you are watching is in your time, and that's quite mind-blowing, isn't it? It's sort of like all the time is now, so even the future and the past is also now for all of us. And talking about that, just before we talk about this and that, messages, communications, of course, the greatest communicator we could say of all time was Jesus. And a friend of mine who is Church of England, Protestant, and dedicated, of course, to that, is a bit concerned because apparently at church people were talking about colour in relation to Jesus. And the question was posed, what colour was Jesus? Well, apart from the fact that we are all spirit, Jesus was a wonderful spirit. We are all spirit within our physical bodies. The colour of those, we might opine, should be incidental, because we should all see each other as other people of spirit. And whatever skin colour or tone we have, whatever complexion, whatever we actually look like or feel like to each other, almost irrelevant, isn't it? I mean, obviously one has to have feelings of sensitivity towards the next person if their physicality is a problem to them. But apart from that, whatever colour somebody is born has always been an irrelevancy in reality. And it's only society and social diktat that begins to talk to children as they develop and point out differences between us in terms of their complexion or features or whatever. So to start asking a question about what colour we think Jesus was, and we know, of course, there are famous black Madonnas, mother of Jesus. Jesus himself is portrayed with very, very dark skin, as he well might have had. Look, Jesus was a Jew. If people are looking through the Bible to support that fact, they have a whole lineage stretching back to King David, who wrote the Psalms that we all love. Well, most of them, some of them are a bit horrid. But he would have looked dark because apart from having a swarthy skin tone, as it's called, most Semites would have that. And the kind of features that we Semites have, we have sort of like, often have sort of longish noses and things like that, and so on and so forth. In fact, you can see friezes of on Egyptian relics and Greek relics of Hebrews, and you can see that they are Hebrews and they are Jews because of their profiles that we know. So Jesus would have been very dark indeed, because he was a Jew, He was living in Israel, which is generally a very hot country. He schlacked around the desert a lot. That is very hot. And the sun is one that will burn your skin if you're very fair. If you are fortunate enough to have that kind of pigmentation that doesn't burn you, you will just go lovely and lovely brown and dark brown there. So in answer to that Church of England clerics wonderings, what did Jesus look like? What colour was he? There's your answer. It's simple, really. But the main answer to that is that it ill behoves any person who is of spiritual leaning, and from whatever religion they are, to harp on about someone's outward appearance, and particularly at this time, about what colour they might be or may not have been. So there, I'll leave you with those thoughts to start with. But this is supposed to be a very spiritual morning for us. And of course, I mean that all with spiritual intent. Now, there's lots of things to talk about when it comes to spiritualism. We have a whole raft of subjects encapsulated really in our principles that we have. And the main thing, of course, is that there is a continuous existence of the human soul. Now, you can say spirit, really, as well, because everything, every creature on this planet Earth has a little spirit within it. And the human spirit is special. You know, we are made, as we are told, in the image of the Great Spirit. And that's all of us, without exception. And again, we look at the physicality of ourselves, don't we? We're always looking at the physicality, but that's not what they're talking about. When they say we are made in the image of the Great Spirit, that's a very simple concept by simple human beings. Oh, it must mean what we look like down here. But in actual fact, it must refer to our inner being, to that which is really us, the me, you know, which is not reliant on the physicality, on the outer shell of that. And that's only why we live down here. So if we are made in the image of the Great Spirit, we are spirit. And we don't have any skin colour or physical attributes, or not, as the case may be, because that spirit is perfect. We are perfect pattern within ourselves for how things should be, how we should be, and everything else gets in the way of that. The physicality gets in the way, doesn't it, all the time? Now, what I wanted to mention was also that if you like these little chats and things, I do write every month. I still manage to write every month a regular article, a regular column for the Psychic World newspaper, which is monthly. And you can get that on subscription. And it has wonderful writers in it. You know, Reverend Philip Solomon, and lots of good people like that writing wonderful articles and features for you. And all it costs is £15 per year if you are in the United Kingdom, and £20 if you're overseas, as we so quaintly still call it. And if you write to P.O. Box 1414, Greenford, Middlesex, and the postcode is Uniform Bravo 6, Oscar Uniform Foxtrot. There. That's the giveaway, isn't it? Well, that's our alphabet done. UB6OUF. And just write away and send a check and say you want to be subscribed, and you'll get this lovely paper. My latest article, well, no, it's not the latest one, but one of them. Oh, this was January 2020. Here we are. It says Talking to the Dead by Rev Lyn, Gibb-de of the New Christian Spiritual Society. It has loads of other stuff in it as well, like adverts for all the local churches, stuff like that. I'll just open this up. Look at that. There. Question of faith. There is no planet B. All sorts of stuff like that. Look at that. Humanity. What do we need? All sorts of stuff for the thinking person who likes a spiritual challenge. There you are. So one of the articles that I wrote for them was just by chance, a neighbour who is not a spiritualist herself knew that I was and came round to see me with a little parcel. And she said, this was my grandfather's, and I feel that he would want me to give this to you. I thought, well, thank you very much. And when I opened it, it was this. And that is a 1925 edition of a spiritualist hymn book. And his name, her grandfather's name, Connie's grandfather's name was Harry Wedge. And there's that wonderful. He was the organist and pianist of spiritualist churches. And this was his special, it says, Harry Wedge, February 1932, May the 31st, 1933, for the use of the organist, Spiritualist Church, Ulverston, and also Dalkeith, Barrow. So this was given to me, and very precious. And I actually wrote an article about that, looking at how spirit works and moves in our lives if we only look for the signs and the wonders of it. And which brings me to how we get messages for ourselves. There's lots of people giving lovely messages and communications from those in the world of spirit to recipients down here over the internet, social media. And some of it is very good. And I have a look now and again to see what people are doing, naturally, and especially those mediums that I've taught myself in the various churches that I have been attached to, and like Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, for instance, and dear Ivan Lee, who is very, very famous now, and excellent medium, of course. And he used to sit on my left. I used to keep him on my left in circle so I could reach him to poke him, to keep his attention, you see, because he was quite naughty in circle. He used to do his own thing sometimes. So there you are, you see. And he's very, very popular now. And of course, I should also mention Karen Middleton and Shirley Monaco and many others who started out in circle at Wimbledon. And then, of course, we've got all the other mediums that are out there, like Reverend Alan Acton, Reverend Judith Freeman, and so many. But yes, so anyway, lots of people are doing lots of things on the internet. However, we can't always get a message, can we? Because there are millions of people out there looking for communication. And fortunately for us as well, talking about established churches, orthodoxies, the Pope's spokesperson said a few years ago that the Pope had said that it was all right now to talk to dead relatives, but not to consult a medium, not to go through a medium. So, well, that was okay, because that helped sort of swell the amount of people in circles, because everybody wanted to then thought, oh, well, all right, then I'll become mediumistic, I'll become a medium so that I can actually speak to my people myself, which is a wonderful thing. I don't know actually how many people took up that but I hope many did. So here we are, and there's me going to tell you how you can access those who love you in the spirit world as well. And just by dint of opening a book. Now I thought perhaps this morning, because I'd mentioned Harry Wedge's hymn book, that we might use that, because I usually use my own old one, as you know. And how we do this for ourselves when we are troubled, when we want some help or guidance or encouragement, upliftment, we can go to a hymn book, which is always preferable, but you can use a book of poetry, a nice book. And as I often say, if you go to the Bible, you have to know that those on the other side of life, especially if your loved ones weren't particularly keen on the Bible themselves, there'll be other people around them at that time when you're wanting to make contact, angelic beings too, around them, helping them to make their presence felt to you in this way, who would have something perhaps a little bit different to say to you, other than words of just downright encouragement. And what I'm doing, you see, I'm scrabbling about because I have so many books. I have here, I have the New Testament in modern English. I've got loads and loads of Bibles, of course. And I'll ask them upstairs before we start to give us a message from the Bible. And we can only hope and pray that it is nothing too dreadful. Yeah. This is what you do, you see. You just link in. You know that they're around you. And you say, please, I would like to have a little verse, please. And I've got this. So we're now going to attempt to read this. Oh, Jesus welcomes babies, I got. Then people began to bring babies to him so that he could put his hands on them. No, he was a great healer. But when the disciples noticed it, they frowned on them. But Jesus called them to him and said, "You must let little children come to me, and you must never prevent their coming. The kingdom of God belongs to little children like these. I tell you, the man who will not accept the kingdom of God like a little child will never get into it at all." There. So it's quite simple. You just have to remember your spirit within, which is innocent of deceit or hatred or all those things that happen to us as we grow up. And there you are. And you know what the next one is for all of us? Jesus and riches. And I'll just do the first little bit. Then one of the Jewish rulers put this question to him, "Master, I know that you are good. Tell me, please, what I do to be sure of eternal life." "I wonder why you call me good," returned Jesus. "No one is good, only the one God. You know the commandments." "And all these," he replied, "I've carefully kept since I was quite young." And he repeated these, the first ones. "Thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not commit murder, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, honour thy father and thy mother. And all these," he replied, "I've carefully kept since I was quite young." I was trying to spare you that. And this is what this man said to Jesus. And when Jesus heard that, he said to him, "There is still one thing you've missed." And then he talks about selling everything that he has and giving money away to the poor, and then you will have riches in heaven, and then come and follow me. But you know that the thing is this, that those of us who might have worked hard for our few bob don't want to give it all away, do we? Just so that we can have riches in heaven. So perhaps it's an allegory. Perhaps Jesus is saying there, look, you know, it doesn't matter how much you have or don't have. You know, you will have riches in heaven if you give charitably, if you give of yourself, if you give of your time. And he was using this money as a symbol. So there, as I said to you, don't expect that this is sort of the camera's moving on its own. We have a heavenly camera person. Oh, it's going again. Oh, okay. Let's see if I can make it stop. Thank you. Thank you. I'm saying to them upstairs, please leave the camera alone. They obviously approve that little Bible reading up to a point. Now then, as I warned you, you don't always get comfortable things out of a Bible, you know, especially that one, for instance. It can make you feel very guilty, and so on and so forth. So I do recommend a spiritualist hymn book, book of poetry, something really nice. And then you will get the comfort and upliftment that you need and encouragement you need in times of trouble and stress. Because the thing is, you know, there isn't always comfort to be got out of those old sacred texts. They can make you feel pretty uncomfortable about stuff. And when you're already feeling uncomfortable, it doesn't help. But there you are. The fact is that they were written, that what I just read to you was written 2,000 years ago, just under 2,000, you see, because nothing was actually written down at the time, as we know. And people wrote about Jesus's words and all the various happenings quite some years after it had all taken place. But it was still there now, you see, and it's like our now. We're in that zone when we read those words. So here we go. What I said to you was that you can just close your eyes and link in, and those you love will be there waiting to prompt you and help you find that encouragement you need. So I'm asking now for people whose, oh, you know what? I didn't put up comments. So sorry, everybody. Oh, Samantha. Yes, good morning, everybody. And Nick and Nicola, good morning. And Hans, oh wow. Hi, Hans. Hello to you from sunny Stockholm. And Bren, here we go from the United States of America. God bless you, Bren. And Bobby, yeah, fine. I'm fine. Thank you. I'm still here. Always helps. And Karen, oh my goodness me, Karen. Wow, not having to do anything that takes you away from here. Oh, how wonderful. That's really nice to see you. And Andrew, yes. Oh, this is lovely. It's like having a little circle, or even a big circle, because I know that there is so much love that you all have, and you all do this spreading of the word of love, and that's really important. And Doreen too. And I'm going to put you up, Doreen. There you are. Feel a bit like Dame Edna, you know. And I'm just about, while I've been talking and saying hello and everything, I've been asking as well, because we operate on different levels, don't we, even mentally, and we have to do our daily things down here. We have to be linked into the mundane, and the dog's beginning to create out there as if to agree with me. And of course, we also need to be aware of the spiritual aspects of our life and the fact that we are spirit, and the sensitivities that we have to those in the spirit world who are around us at different times, and especially in times of need, like now. I won't say anything about the dog. Look. Now, this is for, what did I say? Oh, yes. It helps if you remember what you said. If I can't remember, you know, I ask them and then I get a reminder, which is really good. You can do that too. Now, K. Now, if your name has a K to start it, either the first, middle, or last name that you have, I shall read you what I have. I think this is the right one. No, I have to have this. Okay. I'll be glad about this lockdown stuff being over and I can go to the opticians and get stronger glasses. For you, if you have the initial K. All the faithful and true-hearted travellers in this lower way, all the pure in heart and holy, homeward tend from day to day. There no shadow shall bewilder, their life a vain parade is over. There the sleep of sin is broken, and the dreamers dream no more. There the bond is never severed, there the parting sob and moan, midnight waking, twilight weeping, heavy noontide, all are done. There the child has found the mother, there the mother finds her child. There dear families are gathered that were scattered on the wild. Of thy love some gracious token grant us, Lord, before we go. Bless the word which has been spoken, life and peace on all bestow. There. That was written in 1804. I hope that that has been significant for you. We have spiritual messages, you see. These are not the same as, you know, what you had for breakfast, that your uncle might come through and tell you that your eggs weren't done properly or something like that. But where you know that your uncle is surviving in the world of spirit and can send his love to you and so on and so forth. But these are broader spiritual aspects of life for you and for those who love you on the other side. And I know that people who are grieving will have enjoyed, have felt warmth coming to them from that world of spirit, from their loved ones in spirit who know about them, who know their inner spirit feelings through that reading that we just got. So now, oh, that's good, it's just gone whipping past me, L. So again, I shall hold this. This is Harry's special, very ancient book, and open it. And then where my eye falls, I'm giving for you. Now, if your initial is L on any of your names, oh then, though you weep when your loved ones sleep, when the rose on the cheek grows pale, yet their forms of light, just concealed from sight, are only behind the veil. With their faces fair and their shining hair, with blossoms of beauty crowned, they will also stand with a helping hand when you shall be outward bound. There. Isn't that wonderful? There, I hope that you enjoyed that. And isn't it strange how it's sort of echoing everything that we've been talking about? And of course, when I speak to you, as everybody who's been in my circles will know, before we started speaking, I asked them for help. The group that I work with, the people who are around that help me help you and gather your people around so that we get something at least that makes sense to you, even if it doesn't make much sense to me. And it's interesting that the theme is continuing. And now we've got KLM. And I shall go to another. There we are. Let's see what we've got here. But anybody whose names are with M. Ah, well, I hope that you like this. Here we meet with joy together, 'neath the shade of leafy trees, while the branches make sweet music rustling in the summer breeze. Filled with love, each heart rejoices, breathing forth the secret prayer, while young children's sweet-toned voices float upon the balmy air. Hour of gladness, scene of beauty, radiant all around, above, speaking to the soul of duty, hope and faith and heavenly love. Day of happiness and pleasure, never wilt thou forgotten be, but mid memory's choice treasure, we will guard and cherish thee. There. Isn't that lovely? You see, they're talking about children and they're talking about summer. and they're talking about them being around and cherishing you. And I think that's very important there. So we've now got as far as N. So good old Harry, his book, and the church organist, Connie's granddad. I'm sure that he's absolutely delighted. I mean, he was devoted to spiritualism and his churches, and he was there all the time, and he travelled as well to play the organ for people for their hymns. And this must have been the most prized of his possessions, and to be given it is almost overwhelming. I can't tell you how wonderful that is. But here we are, you see, using it. Now, where did we get to? N. Now, here we are for N. Keep the heart young, though the sands ebb slow, and the silver cord be parting, though the wrinkles come, and the roses go, and the first grey hairs are starting. Keep the heart young, though the look grow old, and its inner life revealing, and its pulses leap, though the blood run cold, like the brook through dingles stealing. As the pearl keeps fair in its sunken shell, though the beach be wasting ever, and the springs still gush in the shady dell, while the dying day beams quiver. As the leaves grow old on the ivy green, with the rest in autumn weather, let the links keep bright in the golden sheen that binds us all together. There. I hope that inspired you and encouraged you very much. Don't forget, if your initials are N, it's particularly meant for you. It's meant for all of us to enjoy and to take on board all of those thoughts and desires of those in the world of spirit. But this is especially today, now, whenever this now is for you. If you have an initial with N, that was specially for you. So I hope put up that little Karen. Oh, yes. Oh, and Nicola. Oh, and Denise. Now, Denise, do you know what? I didn't mention you by name, but I did mention the Church of England and the Protestant clerics who were talking about what colour they think Jesus is or was. And if you've only just joined us, you might like to scroll back and hear what I had to say on the subject. I'm hoping that you find it edifying for yourself. And now we're on the next one. Oh, do you know, I used to love that song when I was a child. Oh, Antonio, he's gone away, left me on my own, diddle-a-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. And the rest of the words were probably quite questionable because it was an old musical song. There. Now, I've opened the book for O, and I just have to find my trusty magnifying glass. We don't need those, you know, up in the world of spirit. We don't need any of our earthly senses. You know, so if we were devoid of any of those senses, if we were robbed of any of them, or if we didn't have them to start with, you know, if we don't see or hear, taste, smell, feel, even, there are people who are in those depths of physical despondency. Our spirit is perfect, and when our spirit goes to the next life, that other dimension, the world of spirit, the heavenly realms, we can see and feel and smell and taste and hear just perfectly. And I know that to be true. Do you know why? Because so many mediums, you ask a medium, how do you best concentrate and see what's on the other side? They'll tell you, close their eyes. We see with the mind's eye, and the mind is of the spirit, not of the brain. The brain is of the physical and is used by the physical, and but it's actually the mind which is attached to our spirit, and that is the most supreme thing. And it's with that mind that we have all those senses restored to us when we're on the other side of life. So there you are, you see, because we don't need oxygen. We don't need oxygen at all. And in fact, many trance mediums will tell you that they need somebody with them because their breathing gets very, very shallow, and it's like being dead, really. There you are, you see. There. And what I've got for O this morning, today, my shepherd is my angel guide, who seeth all my needs. In passive moods, he's by my side, with bread of life he feeds. He bringeth comfort to my heart, and points where saints have trod, where I may act a noble part, and glorify my God. And when I pass the veil of death, no evil shall I fear, for waiting there at my last breath, my loved ones will be near. He through my mortal life will teach, with kindness and with love, and lead me on until I reach my spirit home above. There. Wasn't that lovely? And like I said, they were listening to what we were talking about, what we were saying, what we were all thinking. And that is about, of course, Jesus, the great shepherd of all of us. There. So just so amazing. And all those things that we've been speaking about have been listened to. They've been joining in with us. And, oh, Denise, sorry you missed it. Well, you see, the thing about missing anything on this is it's not like the old days when if you missed something on the radio, that was it, you know, or even on television when it came out. But you can actually hear it again. You can see it again. I have stoically not looked at myself on the screen because sometimes one would rather not. Having a peep, oh dear, all right. And it's been wonderful to be able to speak with you this morning. And Doreen, I'll put your lovely comment up. Thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be helpful in this way. Because really, I think, we need to know that in this time of great turmoil and trouble, and where now people are becoming polarized about their colours and their history and who did what to whom. And I am glad to count German people amongst my friends. And they may well be the descendants of people who put my people to death. And the same thing goes for everybody else. You know, we cannot live our lives here and now constantly carping on about what happened before us, because we can only move forward. We can only be in the now, make things better now, love each other now. Don't care what colour we are now. Let's hope that, our message of spiritualism, that is everybody is spirit here and now, that we all came from spirit and that we go back to spirit, that we are all one continuous stream from the great spirit, and that love is the absolute key to all life, and kindness, and charity. Love is just a word that has also been debased and corrupted, but love means all sorts of different things, and you can have all different levels and kinds of love, but the love itself doesn't change. Charitableness, kindness, caringness, all those things are absolutely essential when you talk about love. Oh, Karen, thank you so much. I'll put that up because we all like a little compliment, Oh, I'm actually what it is. I'm just so glad if I am helping people, because it's just about being a mouthpiece, if you like, for them upstairs, for the realms of light and love, because there is too much evil walking the world, and we need to pour all the light and love we can from them over there onto this problem that we have. And, put our love out there and say to people, don't keep carping on about what was before us, because we are here now, and it's our responsibility to make the world a better place. And let us move forward as brothers and sisters in love, in the Great Spirit, in this great family of the human race. And don't let us forget our little animals either, or even the big animals, but let's not forget our companion animals, because they love us and they rely on us. And in a way, it's like a microcosm of the whole world in our little pets, because if we care for them and love them and look after them, how much more shall we love and care and look after our fellow human beings and the world in which we live there. So I'll leave you with those few thoughts. Don't forget about the Psychic World subscription, which Denise, I put on right at the beginning, the details for subscribing to that, because I write for that newspaper every month, and write all sorts of different articles about different things to do with spiritual subjects, which you might find interesting, all of you who are listening in at the moment. So I say God bless to you, and I wish you a wonderful Monday, and I wish you health, I wish you well, and I hope that what we've done today has helped you, give you confidence in that yourself and your loved ones who are on the other side of life, and to remember that all those messages are for all of us, not just for the people that they were specified, although there's particularly mindful for them. But we can take something from all of those messages that were given out. So I say God bless to you, wish you so well, and I hope that you'll be able to join me again, because tomorrow we're going to do the next 5 letters. Right, so we finished at what was it? O. Thank you very much. So it'll be PQRST tomorrow, and I hope you'll join me for that too. And Sam, time. I'm so grateful for the time that I've been given. I'm very aware, after all the traumas of my life, that every time I wake up, I thank God. I really do. I pray every morning, and I wouldn't say I didn't need Moses to tell me to do that, because it was on his guidance, as it's written down in the Bible, to do that. Every time you wake up, when you rise up, when you go to bed, you must say, you must praise the Lord and thank God. And this is what I do. I recommend it to everybody. It really helps, because it doesn't matter what happens to you in this life, on the physical sense or even the mental stuff. If you pray hard in the morning, in the evening, and maybe odd times during the day too, not when you're in trouble, you see, but when you're actually thankful. I wake up and I'm thankful, and you just be thankful, and you say your prayer, and then you can get up and go about your business. And it makes it a lot easier. So I won't preach too much anymore. As you know, it's a Monday today, but I say that every day is a holy day, because this is the day that the Lord has given us, and we should do our best within it to do our best for everybody else. I say God bless you now, in case it gets too much like preaching to you. God bless you. God bless you all. And I have to end the broadcast. And I'll see you again tomorrow, please God. If it pleases God, Be'ezrat Hashem, with the help of God. And that's what Jesus would have said. Don't forget, he was a Jew. Whatever colour he was, he was a Jew.